Lance, you said you were ready. Lance ended the call. Lance is not ready. Snake. 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 Oh, there we go.
Hi, Vosh. Can you hear me?
Howdy, and I can see you too.
Oh shit! All right, hold on. Let me adjust my levels here. Hi, everyone. Hi, America. How you doing? Thank you.
Wait, I'm sorry. You had your eyes elsewhere. Are you streaming right now?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm simul streaming. Well, sorry.
Gotcha.
I'm streaming on the YouTubes. Let me.
How's that working out? Have you gotten super chats yet? The one where fucking YouTube takes a 30% cut away.
I haven't. Well, okay. So I'll be honest. The first time I streamed on the YouTubes, I did it with your lovely Tim Pool debate.
Oh yeah. You got like 8K viewers or something during that. I hope that was.
I got 9K viewers, 9.3 actually. No
9
one was counting,
My
but
apologies.
that was because of the meritocracy. That's because I picked myself up from my bootstraps. I worked really hard, and because of that, I had 9,000 viewers, and I also get that kind of viewership on a regular basis.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it was just hard work. It's true. It's 100% true. Had nothing to do with anyone helping me out or giving me access to play that kind of footage. So,
well,
you know.
I look forward to future opportunities to prostrate myself in my audience before you. It was it ended up being a pretty big media event for, I guess, a lot of people. So it was a lot of fun. I hope I can do it again in the future. Tim Pool seems to have unflappably absorbed all of the drama surrounding the election, almost as though he didn't care that much either way at all. Interesting. And
are you saying he's perfect centrism, as all things should be, balanced,
very
harmonious?
Balanced. Well, how you doing? You don't even have a fucking stake in this, you fucking Canuck. How you doing?
Okay. Hold on, Vosh. I wanted to do that thing. All right. I noticed that when we had our first Black Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, he would have to call in to his counterpart, whether that be Obama or if that be Donald Trump, and in this case it's going to be Joe Biden, and offer congratulations. So I figured I would do that. That's what I'm trying to facilitate right now between the two of us. So I'm here to say thank you. Thank you for ending that little flirtation, that little edging experience with the fascism.
Yeah, that was me. I was the one who got Biden.
Yes,
they didn't thank me during the inauguration speech, which was actually really upsetting. So I'll be having a talk with him about that after he's settled into the Oval Office.
Yeah, it's a weird night, right? I don't fully know how to feel about all this.
It's all super weird, yeah.
Yeah, I'm absolutely adoring the overwhelming support of liberal tears and urine and semen and everything else they're willing to expunge. That has been sustaining me, and it's been plentiful. So for that I'm very, very happy. But yeah, I think that acceptance speech pretty much reminded me exactly what we're in store for the next little bit.
Yeah, well, there are some nice things that are going to happen right off the bat. We took a look at some of the executive orders Joe Biden plans on passing day one, and some of that's pretty good stuff. There's obvious stuff like getting back into the Paris Accords. He's also going to be restoring campus protections for transgender students, which is going to be nice.
So what about the $15 minimum wage?
That is not, but you can't executive order that. That's going to have to go through. Yeah. And that's the big issue. That's why I don't know how much you've been following the nitty gritty, but it looks like the Senate is going to come down to two special elections or two runoff elections that are being done in Georgia. It's very unlikely that both of them go blue. If both of them go blue, we take the Senate. And if one of them or both of them go red, we lose the Senate.
I have been following it. So come January, you could have the Senate, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we can. It's a very I feel like it's a solid 1 in 20 that happens, but we'll push for it anyway.
I don't know if you noticed, by the way, I'm drinking the Karen drink of choice because I figured it feels apropos for the evening. I don't know if you've had the pleasure.
Utterly ignorant of all things alcohol related, so I'm afraid it means absolutely nothing to me. I'm sure there are people in my chat, however, who seem to recognize the noteworthiness.
You're one of the most famous people on the internet, and you don't know what White Claw is?
No,
How have
it's
the memes avoid? But how have the memes avoided you?
I
I don't.
listen. I only follow like 200 people on Twitter, so I keep my
Ah,
meme intake very curtailed, very narrow. Okay, wait, it's
ah,
388 people on Twitter now, I guess.
oh, okay. Well, thank you for making me 388. That's good to know.
You were like number 17 or something. You were one of the first people I followed. You've been doing this longer than I have.
What, Twitch? Or no, you mean Twitter?
Well, no, on Twitch, haven't you?
Oh, Twitch. No, no.
Really?
You were banned by the time I joined. Yeah, I'm a baby when it comes to streaming. I was making YouTube videos. I was whatchamacallit, a bread tuber is I don't know what the moniker is these
Okay,
days.
wait. Okay, sorry. Maybe not Twitch then, but you were at least making content. I knew that because I remember your conversation with Destiny was like early on. It was like right as I had started um streaming. So you obviously would have had to have had some presence before that.
Uh, I guess you could call it presence.
Yeah.
I think my OBS just crashed. My chat is effing me.
Rip. I'm sorry. Well, we have you here.
Okay, that's good. Y'all are cozy. I'll restart this. Sorry, that's if I sound slightly distracted. That's why I was just like, wait, what is happening in real time?
We are very cozy. Well, yeah, I'm happy that we have narrowly avoided driving ourselves off of the precipice this
Yes,
time. In 4 years, I'm
yes,
sure we're going to lose the election to like like a cotton type or maybe somebody even worse, like some sort of death cultist,
Okay, so
an old
is that the way you
aristocracy.
felt the whole time? Like, I'm so curious because you did the same thing I did, right? So
Mhm.
mine was I'm going to do a strong concerted push for everybody. Just I'm going to stop saying shit about Joe Biden. All right, I'm going to take off my Joe Biden is a horrible human being mask and put on my the lesser of two evils mask, and because like that is the pragmatic thing that people should be doing. I voted for Justin Trudeau the first time, and he was a shitty neoliberal to replace the rise of proto-fascism in Canada,
Yeah.
right? So I've done it before. I know the feeling. It's like feels dirty and greasy, but you do it. But was your idea that like were you worried about this evolving into I don't know what you would even call this the 4 year plan like 2024 we're going to get Tucker Carlson?
Well, I think that was going to happen either way. What I reject is the idea that voting for Trump for a second term would solidify some sort of like big anti-fascist base on the left. I don't think that's true at all. I think the more time you have in power, the more time you have to develop a base. Like
Yes.
Trump lost this election with a higher vote total than any previous presidential candidate who won. He was able to mobilize a lot of people. The longer we let these people stay in power, the more power they're going to be able to maintain. I think people who grew up learning about manufactured consent and the established interest of the bourgeois would
Yeah.
recognize that the longer you let power fester, the harder it is to get out. But evidently not. I still think there's a decent chance of a worse fascist coming along down the road. I think having
Hmm.
Biden as an intermediary lessens that chance.
Hmm. Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
There's I mean, yeah, this is going to be a bit of an echo chamber conversation, but
Well, I wasn't
hey.
expecting to debate you. Yeah. Um, No, I do think there's still a decent shot of us getting kerfucked in 2024. But I think maybe, I mean, we can see the tide of this country shift a little bit. I think 2016 was a pretty remarkable election. Hillary Clinton was legendarily unpopular, and even then, she did still win the popular vote. So maybe this
Mhm,
country will trend positively. Hopefully, the Hispanics coming out like much more for Trump than expected. Hopefully, that is
mhm.
not like a permanent demographic tendency. Hopefully,
Well,
that's
did
just them
you
not
see the
liking Joe.
stats on that though?
Yeah, I
Like I was
did.
looking at the stats. It was like, isn't it overwhelmingly Cuban? And yet at the same time, the other demographics were like they were not shifting in the direction that it's made out to
For
be.
the other demographics, I think that it was like 1/3 who voted for Trump and 2/3 who
Okay.
voted for Biden, which would be really, really favorable if they were the majority. But since we're counting on them to be the very blue minority, it's still a little
Mhm.
bit harrowing. I expected the heavy turnout from Cubans, though. They consistently fuck up Florida, so
Yep, that's
yeah.
pretty much it. Okay, sorry, I'm back, and now you have my full and undivided attention. I've done the
Nice. Happy
internet
to
thing.
have you back.
Yeah, thank you. Um, so yeah, what I don't know, man. What are you feeling? Like,
I feel good.
I feel fantastic about what's accomplished, and I feel confused in terms of like, did you see the Politico mock cabinet? I'm sure someone shared it with you so far.
I did, yes.
Yeah. and how horrifying it looks.
Well,
But I
that's one possible cabinet. I wasn't expecting his cabinet picks to be especially left leaning, you know. Hopefully
Mhm,
Bernie remains on health, you know,
mhm.
and we can see good stuff coming from that. But I do expect him to do the bullshit bipartisan appeal. I very much expect that. I'm not looking forward to anything good coming from the next 2 years, especially. I'm just looking forward to things not getting worse. But that does mean something. I don't think we should discount the value of that, you know. If
Mhm.
we when you're in, you know, when you're in you're in the movies, you know, when you fall down a trap pit into a room where the walls close in, and you find a way to prop something up to jam the mechanism and buy you a couple hours time to think of a way out, you don't besmirch the fucking the person who managed to jam the mechanism, you know. That's a good thing. You bought some time. A
Mhm.
lot of people are really contemptuous of any solution that doesn't immediately abolish capitalism and establish, you know, a proletarian state. And what can you do with these people, you know?
It's not a switch, you're saying?
It's not a switch, no.
Oh,
No.
oh.
It's
I was led astray. I was led astray by Twitter. Twitter
no.
told me that we just do one thing. If we can all just, we can Wakanda forever our way
It's
into
a
an end or an
bimodal
abolishment.
spectrum, much like gender,
Ah,
you know, you have all
yes.
capitalist and all socialist, and then it's just a trench of workers' revolutions in the middle, you know?
I will say this because hey, I'm loving the hopium because I'm a hopium kind of person to say the least. I will say that like there has been an incredible surge of just I would say leftist rhetoric, leftist thought in the United States, especially with the advent of the Bernie Sanders run, to say the very least. Not even the first one, the second one at this point. I saw those closing polls on Fox News. On Fox News, of all places, that were saying healthcare should be a human right,
Mhm.
that were saying what is it that housing for all isn't exactly like a controversial idea, stuff like that, stuff
Yeah.
that is supposed to be far leftist, radical, pinko commie
But
nonsense.
it
Uh,
pulled well. Yeah.
it resonates with people.
Well, I think that's going to be the lesson that we need to teach right now. We have two contradictory trends in the United States of America, and unfortunately, it might be really difficult to navigate them. First of
Mhm.
all, neoliberalism is fucking done. Nobody comes out to vote for that shit. People voted for Joe Biden because he wasn't Trump. That was the main impetus of getting people out there to vote. We know that because we did pre-polling on why people chose Biden over Bernie. We know why they came out for him. Okay. So what gets people actually out there? Well, fascism gets people out there. Absolutely, of course. We know that because these people are scared that black people are going to come and rape their white wives or daughters or whatever. So they're terrified and stupid and they'll vote. But on the left, how do we get more people over? Well, it seems like there are cultural narratives that look bad for us from a moderate perspective, stuff like defunding the police. I don't think anybody won their election because they were pro defunding the police. I do think there were some Democrats who might have lost it because they were accused of being pro defunding the police. But on
Mhm.
the other hand, there's very far left shit that seems to be taking root in the minds even of right leaning people. Like you said, the unions always been a solid push, $15 an hour minimum wage, and even with regards to healthcare, a more progressive healthcare system seems to be something pretty much everybody in America wants. So the difficulty is going to be threading the needle of how do we bread pill the Republicans and the moderates with progressive economic reform without compromising on cultural reform that's going to be used as a spook to try to scare off white voters. How do we simultaneously get people on board with stuff like better healthcare, $15 an hour minimum wage, without getting people terrified of BLM rioters and looters? That's really difficult to do because as much as I appreciate an intersectional approach, part of being intersectional is learning when it's important to divorce certain subjects in addition to knowing when to unify them and address them sort of collectively. And I'm not personally willing to accept any future where we give up on progressive issues, but that's going to be the difficulty. How do we thread that needle? Sorry, I talked for a while, but yeah.
No, no, no. But do you ever listen to the podcast? It could happen here,
Yeah,
or have you
yes.
ever? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That I think it was like 3 episodes ago. One of his episodes really resonated with me, where he talks about, again, the rural American, right? What does the poor white American, for example, the one who's been disenfranchised and famously doesn't feel like the what is it? The liberal elites are speaking for them. They're kind of like they feel isolated, and they feel the same alienation as everyone else does. I mean, everyone suffers under capitalism.
Mhm.
I'm sure I'm preaching to converted here. How do we reach them? Because at the moment, who is reaching them is Fox, is Tucker Carlson, is Breitbart, is everyone who's saying, by the way, I hope you understand this. These problems are the globalists and the elitists. And yes, all these, they weave in that populism with the idea and these classical ideas of, yes, it's not hard to point out that there are rich people and there are poor people. That there is more rich people, that there is more poor people than there is rich people, and that is growing. And your inequities are growing. So at the same time, if they can tap into that podcast really made me realize we, as I guess the left, have to also be able to. I'm not saying we have to appeal to people who are already far gone and Nazis, right? Like I like what you do in terms of like you kind of you ridicule or you debate those
Well,
kind of people.
I have fun with the margins, but most
Mhm,
people, margins only exist around a center, a large center. And I
mhm.
feel like the 98% of Republicans are capable of being moved, at least on some pivotal issues.
Well, it's that thing, right? It's that old adage. Like everyone wants to secure a homeland for their children. No, everyone wants at the end of at the end of the day
Well, they
to
do. I
have
mean, they do, though. That's the thing. It's a matter of
like
how exclusionary you want to be with that.
yeah. But what I did want to say before I got clipped out of context and destroyed on the internet for all time is that at the end of the day they want safety and security for their family. That's like, doesn't matter if you're ISIS, doesn't matter if you're like a God-fearing Republican, and doesn't matter if you're a leftist. At the end of the day, like that's what everyone wants. How do you bridge that gap, and how do you change the messaging, I guess, is the key of what you're trying to get at.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah, of course. And with regards to mobilizing these people or to moving them over, when we talk about the work, so first of all, when we're talking about the conservative base in America, more than anything else, we're talking about men and white people more than anything else. Not even poor people. The poorer you are, the more likely you are to vote Democrat. The
Mhm.
strongest base of Republican support comes in the suburbs, where middle or upper middle class whites clutch their pearls anytime they hear about a convenience store window being broken as some homeless guy steals a payday bar through the little grate. That's the Republican base right there. Scared people of generally decent financial means. When you see all those Trump truck rallies, you think these are fucking minimum wage people out there in their trailer parks that are getting
Fuck,
together
that's
with their
true. Or
with
the
their
boat
expensive
rallies. Who the
with
fuck has boat
yeah,
rallies?
with
Like,
their
what the fuck?
boats
That's a uniquely American thing,
and
by
their
the way. I've
brand
never
new
seen like.
$45,000 gleaming trucks with military hardware in the back. These people aren't
Yeah,
poor. So
yeah.
there are a lot of lefties who do this, and I hate this. When they say the working class, they mean white people in this country. I feel it's almost like a dog whistle. The working class in this country is, and has for a very long time, largely been people of color, working class immigrants and black people trying to eke out existence in a country that despises them. That's the working class in this country. If we want to
Yeah.
change the minds of Republicans, it's not a matter of addressing the working class. It's a matter of addressing white men. And in doing that, man, well, I mean, they hate BLM. They despise BLM. So that's a hard thing to move them over on. A lot of them don't even need $15 an hour minimum wage because a lot of them have higher paying jobs. There are some who would benefit from that, but many who wouldn't. What do you do? It's like that old Superman comic, you know? What do you give to the men who have everything? Because selling people on a broad cultural and economic shift that that you promise them will reduce the amount of alienation in their life, nobody's going to
Mhm.
vote for that. That's way too abstract. What policy proposals can you offer to a person who makes $100,000 a year, lives in the suburbs, commutes 30 minutes to work in a nice car, and then comes home to his white family to turn on the TV to listen to Glenn Beck talking about black people?
But that's the point. Do you think they hate BLM, or do you think they hate what they're taught
Oh, they
to
hate what they're
think
taught. Of
BLM
course, of
is?
course. Well, there
Yeah.
is no real BLM. There is no actual
Mhm.
anything in existence. There's only the narratives we tell ourselves about it. So, of course,
Yeah, of
if
course.
if these people were really given the opportunity to familiarize themselves with these, with these ideas, I think a lot of them would be more amicable. But we're dealing with the propaganda network.
Mhm. And well, I mean, isn't the idea then that you have to push back against that? Isn't that the whole point of building these empires right now?
Yeah, but that's the difficult thing, right? How effectively can you do that for the people who matter? So I don't really care if like some queer college students in Detroit are like big on BLM. We knew which way they were going to lean anyway. What I care
Mhm.
about is in what way can we defend BLM and other like big cultural shifts that appeal to the hegemonic majority, to that group we've discussed previously. Does
Mhm.
defending it actually make it worse? Does embracing it totally make it better? I genuinely don't know. I do know this, though. The mainstream Democrat position of tepidly supporting it while performatively denouncing the elements of it that Fox News overplayed, that shit doesn't work. I feel like you have to go like either direction hard. You either have to pretend that BLM has nothing to do with the Democratic Party, it's a completely separate thing, these radicals, and then but kind of like what the Republicans do with like the far right militias. You
Mhm.
tacitly support them, but you never like publicly endorse them. Or you go the other direction completely and you're completely on board. You'll defend every part of it. You'll say the riots are a product of systemic injustice and the only way to fix them is to address the systemic inequality. And
Mhm.
I just know the middle approach isn't the one that works.
Well, I can tell you this from someone who has elected, like I said, Justin Trudeau. We got performative wokeness. That's what his brand is, and it always has been to a T. He elects a certain member of parliament that have certain demographics. He elects just the right amount of women, members of the trans community, people of color, all that kind of stuff. And at the same time, yeah, exactly as you're stating right now, it doesn't actually get you results if you don't address the systemic inequities that create Trump. You will get another Trump, and that's the problem. I mean, you're joking around with Tom Cotton, and I don't think he's gonna have enough time to
I
limit it.
may or may not be joking. I don't know. There are people who think he's got a decent
There's
run.
yeah, but there's only so many Klansman rallies you can attend before you get a little tired, my dude. Like, come on, lifting those logs to put the tea together, they're heavy. It's hard. I don't know if he's got the fortitude to get
Listen,
through this.
I'm just saying that if you if you get complacent and Canada gets invaded by the 2024 Cotton Brigade, that I warned you, okay?
You heard it here first. Well, no. Well, my point was going to be someone like Tucker Carlson, for example, scares the living shit out of me compared to Tom Cotton. I think Tom Cotton appeals to a very specific, ultra nationalist, white racist base kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
Tucker Carlson can appeal to all Americans who are isolated. He's already really good about this in the messaging. I mean, you talk about this frequently with Crystal Ball and how they kind of normalize this particular brand of populism and what's happening there.
Yeah,
I
by
don't.
pretending that it's populism. It's absolutely not.
Yeah.
The dude is one of the most shameless advocates for like prolonged corporate control of America. He just occasionally will, signal the other way, and people are really hungry for that. Nobody
Hmm.
likes neoliberalism. Nobody likes performative wokeness. Nobody likes corporations. Nobody likes corporations. People like Ben Shapiro will pretend that they're in favor of corporations from time to time, but then their positions actually come out when they say that the government needs to pass legislation to keep Twitter from banning conservatives. Nobody
Hmm.
actually likes corporations. It's just not cool to be pro corporation anymore. The real punk rock are actual libertarian. Unironically, people like Joe Jorgensen or whatever, the woman that all the conservatives are raging at right now
Yeah,
because
yeah,
she
yeah.
ended up pivoting a couple of key swing states with the votes that went to her. When libertarians, God bless them, they're so stupid. When they actually support like complete hegemonic corporate control, I actually I bless my heart at them. Like that's so cute. Most
Mhm.
conservatives don't believe that shit though. So we need to move past
Comrade
that.
Joe.
Yeah, we need to move
Yeah.
past that. And the problem is the Democrats aren't willing to completely, they're not willing to dip their toe in that water because, like Republicans, they have corporate donors. And with fascism, it's possible to performatively denounce corporate control while actually putting a ton of power in the hands of corporations. With socialism, you don't. You actually kind of have to do it. So I feel like it's harder for them to move in that direction because their corporate donors know what they would be doing.
Hmm. What can Joe do day one? Like you probably studied this a lot more than I did. Like what executive orders can you
Wait,
actually push through? Because like
wait,
this
wait,
this
wait. You mean
is
Joe Biden or Joe Jorgensen?
yeah, Joe Jorgensen. Yeah, sorry, Comrade Joe. Yeah, no, welcome to the revolution. It was about
Wait,
time.
but they're
Good to
both
have
named
you.
Joe. Which one?
I mean Joe Biden. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry, Joe
okay,
Biden.
okay.
Yeah. No, but what can Joe Biden do realistically? Executive orders, day one, all the kind of stuff you said. $15 minimum wage. That's not on the table. Fair enough. Because that's one of the ones that I have the highest sell on. I'm guessing he's
Mhm.
going to do something in terms of like he's not going to do the like. Is he going to do the War Measures Act? Is he going to do what needs to be done? Is he
Well,
going
he
to
said he's
enact
going to
like?
implement. He said he's going to implement the national mask mandate, which is
Mhm.
within his power. He could have a national lockdown, or at least he could sort of roundabout one. With regards to the war powers, I feel like at this point we have enough personal protective equipment in this country that it wouldn't be necessary for him to implement that in order to get more equipment being produced. So
Mhm.
it would be interesting to me if he oversteps in that respect, or like if he decides to go that hard.
What about using it for a jobs program?
For a jobs
Because
program, I don't think, no, I don't think he can do that through executive order.
okay.
I think basically anything that affects the economy or requires like the implementation of new of like a new outreach or new programs from the government. I'm pretty sure you would need to, if they didn't like it executive. I feel like there's a lot of law around this, but it feels like the executive order thing is very untested in our country, as in there's not a great understanding of how far you can go and how much you can do. But it seems like, generally speaking, executive orders get harder to implement the more money it would cost to do them, because the more money you have to
Hmm.
throw at them, the more that becomes Congress's job to manage. So,
And does Congress have to approve the budget of the
yeah,
executive
yeah,
order?
and Congress approves those matters, but it's really wiggly too.
Oh.
And of course, Donald Trump passed executive orders that ended up getting challenged in courts and ended up,
Yeah.
yeah. So the actual boundaries are really, really, really shaky. But I don't think Joe is going to go anywhere near as he could conceivably if he were like really dedicated, you know?
Hmm. Well, that was the other question I had in terms of like this is a done deal, right? Like people have been asking me, and I was like, yeah, I like I don't see this going any higher. I don't see like any court worth their scent being like, yeah, no, this is definitely something worth disputing. Like the election's done, right? This is not going to be a Supreme Court anything. Like this is a nothing burger, right? I think even the Supreme Court blog official Twitter account, and they release a statement saying that like don't worry if it comes down to which president won more of the electoral college. I could be
I'm sorry,
talking
I
out
missed
of my
that
ass.
last sentence. Hit me with the last one.
Oh,
I
oh,
was
the last
checking on
one
the link
was.
chat, Amy.
Oh yeah, no worries. I was saying that like, is there any possibility that like this, like Trump is basically, he seems like this is the bunker days, right?
Mhm.
I mean, it's so much sadder by the way than the bunker. At least there was some honor in the whole bunker thing. This seems more just like a petulant child who's just like, please notice me. One last bukkake of freedom. Why am I being censored on every single like social media
He's
platform?
never going to accept the results of the election. It's actually
Yeah.
never going to happen at
Okay.
all. Isn't
And
that
so how does this play
insane?
out? Well, yeah, I'm sorry. The last 4 years have been like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
I've
like,
been in a never-ending spiral of what the fuck is going on.
I've said this before, but I still firmly believe this. Like, if Donald Trump wanted to, he could actually cement long-term cultural power with a really, really, really good concession speech. He could talk about
Mm,
how, he did his best at,
mhm.
however, the powers that be and the mobilization of the state and big tech, they don't want him to be president one more time. He never actually says he didn't lose. Just say they don't want him to be president, and that he basically dog whistles QAnon, that he had work left unfinished, and that he hopes that he or someone high-minded like him will take up the mantle sometime soon, but this country's got a rough 4 years ahead of it. If he could signal with some dignity, like this really far-right conspiratorial bent, he could do a lot of damage on the way out. Unfortunately for him, he's a fucking moron, so he's not going to do that. They're going to drag him up to the podium for his concession speech, and he's going to read from a postcard that he's shakily written on about how he didn't actually lose, and how Twitter has it out for him, and he won bigly, and so on. And then he's going to go off and, I don't know, sit in the penthouse toilet for 2 weeks until he kills himself.
But yeah, yeah, the Elvis style. Well, I was gonna say though, if you were the one who came up with that speech, I wouldn't want to have to be the staffer who tried to sell him on it, because that would never work. Where you're like, yeah, Mr. President, there is a chance you could walk away from this and your legacy would be preserved forever. You just have to be, well, you have to use something called dignity. I'm not going to try and explain that to you, sir. It's going to be far beyond the pale. But anyways, you would have to use that: grace, aplomb, all words that are new. I know, word a day calendar. You're getting 4 all at once, and then on top of which, you may have to concede like that. that would be like, what is that, Command EXE or whatever? He would break on the
Yeah,
process.
yeah, of
Like
course.
yeah,
He's not capable of doing it. You know, there's
no.
something that I find interesting. Some people say like we worry about a stronger Trump coming eventually. You know, like
Mhm.
we worry. You know, this
A
is just
competent
Trump
one.
level 1. What if we get like Trump level 3, who's not an idiot
Yeah.
down the line?
Mhm.
And I wonder,
Shang Tsung.
does Trump's idiocy actually help him? I think it actually does. I feel like if Trump was like a conniving, intelligent bureaucrat slowly clawing his way to power, and he actually was capable of, maneuvering the political system without coming off like a fucking brainlet, I feel like that would actually hurt him because he wouldn't have that same attractive charisma that lends him the public support he has right now.
Like being a fail son though, because he's like the ultimate fail son.
Well, they
There's
want
no
that
better.
because Republicans are fail sons, so they see themselves in that,
Ah, that's interesting. I didn't even think about that. He's an avatar for all of them. Every fail son. I am your fail son. Je suis fail son.
Yeah, that's
He's
why
like a whole social movement.
people were so
Yeah.
mad about the Hunter Biden thing. They wanted to expose an enemy fail son that they could project their insecurities onto, and it turns out Hunter Biden is a fucking Chad with a horse cock who just fucks bitches like 24/7 and doesn't give a fuck about anything. And then
Yeah.
and then like now it didn't stick. Notice how, by the way, when was the last time any of you heard anything about Hunter Biden or a laptop? I haven't heard any shit in a week. They completely dropped that. Even the voters stopped caring the moment the election happened. They knew that was nothing from day one. They knew that was worthless.
Well, not to mention, okay, horsecocks aside, and foot jobs and all that wonderful stuff, and then normalizing sex work. Also, did not expect that. That was wonderful. That was the first time that it humanized him. Like, holy shit! I have a hard time doing like Joe Biden apologia, right? All of a sudden, it's like, hey, by the way, here's the worst and most damning thing about Joe Biden. He was a good father. He was a very wonderful father. He said, "I love you, son. We're gonna get through this." I was like, "But that's your October surprise? Seriously, horsecocks and I love you, son? Like that is so fucked." Like
There was that funny 4chan post where they said like, "Wow, what were these Hunter leaks for? To make us want to kill ourselves?" Because it was like Hunter Biden, 6'2", horsecock, has white children, fucks people every day. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, politics is all about sex anyway, so I feel like we were all just waiting for that conspiracy. That's why, I mean, so many people were obsessed about the Stormy Daniels and the P tapes early on with Trump's presidency as well.
Mhm.
Obama, I feel like, was a really unique exception because Obama seems like he actually is a family man,
which is weird. What was the worst thing Obama ever did? Dijon? Was it Dijon? Did he put Dijon on a burger?
Well, there were
Like,
the camps
fucking
and all
bourgeois.
the drone bombings and stuff. But
No. Those are the worst, the real things he did. I'm talking about what the media would say. Like,
okay,
what
so
is
the
Obama
worst
controversy? What's
non-scandals.
Obamagate?
Yeah, the worst non-scandals were the tan suit. Also, the whole Michelle Obama's a man thing, and then all the totally not horny people would. All the totally not
racism.
horny people would. Oh, of course it's racism. Yeah, and they draw her as like a gorilla or whatever. But we know they're jerking off to this shit. They're drawing her with like a fat cock packed under her dress. Like we know. Like one of the things that really bothers me is the absolute transparency of their hypocrisy. If you're a racist piece of shit, have the dignity to not jerk off to black women, okay? But they fucking do. Like if you're gonna be racist, you can't. You can't do both, okay? You can't hate black people, but then clearly thirst after them. It's really weird,
Oh, and also come lunchtime, it's like time for tacos, friends. Here we go.
Time for tacos. Also with trans people,
time for the mastery of the white race.
they
Where's
do this
shawarma?
harder with trans people than literally anybody. I swear to God, if you
Yes.
go on 4chan, these people alternate, they like oscillate like a metronome between virulent transphobia and the fetishization of feminine people with penises. They like snap back relentlessly.
All right, well, I have to ask, are all these memes that are popping up all over the place where all these like MAGA people are like, I'm going to transition now, are those real? Are they like, I've seen so many on the internet where it's like, I've actually, like, I hated who I was. I'm ready to transition, but like MAGA was the only thing keeping me because I thought, I was going to be able to purify myself for all this kind of stuff. Like, are those memes?
I feel like at least some of them have to be, right? I mean, there are plenty of people in my chat right now, literally right now at this moment, who were conservatives who only realized they were trans around the same time they realized that their previous politics were dog shit.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's like the Christian and being gay thing, right? Like usually realizing that your politics are incompatible with your lifestyle comes along with recognizing who and what you actually are. Yeah, somebody
That's
just
so
said, yeah, this happened to
interesting.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like a modern day phenomenon. Then it is exactly the parable that you're explaining, except it's happening in real time
Listen,
before our eyes.
conservative transitioning is going to be like the mail-in votes, okay? With Democrats, because they're on board with the trans thing, they're going to go a slow, steady curve up with more trans people. But with Republicans, the cope of the election is going to have a sharp jump up and then like flatline as the next Republican president comes in. So it's exactly like the mail-in ballot, quote unquote, fraud.
Well done,
And
well done. Which was totally
Godspeed to
real,
all
by
of
the
them.
way. Totally real, by the way. Not
Yeah,
made up.
totally real.
Hey, are y'all gonna pardon Trump? Y'all gonna give
You know,
Trump
I don't have any
a
fucking control over that. It's probably gonna happen.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying is Biden gonna pardon
It's
Trump?
probably
'Cause it
gonna
seems
happen.
I felt like we got the opening salvo of that. I felt that was in the cards.
It's almost
Unfortunately.
guaranteed that it's going to happen. There are three main
Yeah.
reasons why they kind of have to. First of all,
Okay.
there should never be consequences to being the president, ever.
Of course not. What are war crimes?
Yeah,
Hey,
if there
war crimes, am I right?
yeah, if there are consequences, that sets a bad precedent for future leaders. You don't want that to happen.
Because you
Second of
cannot
all,
be a president and not a war criminal.
yeah, oh
It's
yeah,
just-
I
it's
mean,
not-
pretty
yeah.
much, yeah.
Yeah.
Second of all, it would make him a martyr massively because he has enough lawyers and wealth to drag out the proceedings for years and years and years. He's an old man. He might even die before we actually get a ruling, and it would just turn into Russiagate 2.0, and people would say they're trying to kill him because he holds secrets about the deep state. It would just the best. I feel like for consolidating power as like a Democrat, the best thing that you could really do is not charge him for anything he did while he was in office, and just cross your fingers and hope that he like gets arrested on something else unrelated to his presidency, and then after he's been arrested for that, you can just leak all the info that you have about him that would make him look really bad in retrospect. That way you avoid the blame and he still ends up in jail, you know?
And he can also get he can only get pardoned for federal crimes, right? Aren't the state crimes still in play?
Yeah,
Like, he's got a lot of crimes, so
he can be pardoned for federal crimes, but the decision to go after him for state crimes would be like really, really difficult, you know? Like it would still it would require a mobilization of state resources that I expect they're not going to be willing to do, and time too, a lot of time.
man.
I mean, he's suffering enough as it is. He's clearly handling this worse than literally anybody else on Earth. So I feel I feel like we're still getting
so
something.
True. No, I was like, there's so many ways this can play out. I don't know what your week's been like. I know because we both been so busy with all of this, and like every day it has been a roller coaster of emotions. You know, Tuesday was a little bit sad. I had Chelsea Manning on my stream on Tuesday, and she was a lightning rod. Vosh, like you have got to see her work. It's incredible. She was behind the scenes from the start of the day. As soon as the polls closed or whatever, the first polls, she predicted everything with mathematical precision, the likes of which I've never seen. Like, I know why she is a feared enemy of the state, or whatever you want to call her. It was a thing of consummate beauty. She got everything right. Everything right.
I hope to speak with her at some point. One of the big issues I have getting
I'll set it up.
big names on is that, of course, there's a lot of controversy associated with me. So a lot of the people who would otherwise
getting
be willing
big
to come
names
on,
like, wasn't your election with like Shoeoned ContraPoints?
Oh,
Then you had, like,
yeah, of course,
that other massive YouTuber, and then right after
but
him,
they're
like,
already
Chris Hayes is coming on, and like
they're already mired in drama. I'd love to have like Congress people on, but of course then it would be like like Congresswoman Tlaib associates with anti-Semitic, far left Antifa, So we'll see. I feel like I've made my bed and now I have to sleep in it with regards to the controversy thing, but it's okay. I'm enjoying what I do.
You've been so controversy free lately, though. I don't know what's going on. Is it age?
I think I'm a little better at this now. Also, I just haven't been arguing with lefties. There's always controversy that I can drag up. For example, a pretty prominent left-leaning black activist group or advocacy group on Twitter recently dug up an out-of-context clip of mine, got a couple thousand likes on their retweet, saying like, "Oh, this is what the lefties we need," and it was a clip where I was saying I don't care about black culture, in the context of I don't care about culture for its own merit. I think that all cultures should have the freedom to spread or, interact or grow in and out of prominence on their own will. I don't want to defend cultures on their own as though they're a static thing. But it got clipped, and so they talked about it. And I have the choice at any point in time to push the nuclear button on this and make a video on it and just attract a fuckload of hate. But I'm really, really, really trying to focus on the election and class consciousness and other issues that I think are more ubiquitously interesting. And my channel's been doing well lately, so I think that's the stuff people care about anyway.
I took a big page from, well, I'm gonna be honest, I still don't understand cum. I don't. It, I just the acronym. I just mean the wordplay. I understand the purpose, and I took the purpose to heart. I think it was I don't know if we spoke about this. There was 2 or 3 times where there was just like posts by very prominent leftists gearing up before the election that you do that thing. I don't know if you do that thing where you literally grab your own hand because you feel it moving towards Twitter, and you can feel the thoughts forming in your brain as your hand is inching towards the keyboard. You're
Towards
like,
the N key.
I'm gonna say it. You even type it out, and you're looking at it, and you're proofreading it maybe, and you're like, oh yeah, this this will toast them good. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, well, but to what aim? Like, what do I get from this? What, like, I give Jack Dorsey, I'm sure, maybe like $2,000 because our accounts are both prominent enough that it's going to get a whole bunch of people angry. Their fans all go after me. My fans go all after him. But is anyone talking about the issues that matter? Are we talking about abolishing ICE? Are we talking about, even dismantling capitalism, comrades, or anything like that? Or are we just arguing on Twitter past each other? Are we screaming past each other for fucking days?
Yeah, well,
most likely.
I mean, the point number one is never argue on Twitter. There's absolutely no benefit to be had from it. The only time you should ever argue on Twitter is if you can post short messages or videos or images that make other people angry. The only currency on Twitter is rage, and if you can get it from other people quickly and easily, go for it. But if you're actually going to try and like dig in the trenches to argue with somebody, what a fucking waste of time. I got so much happier when I stopped. Now when people quote tweet me or they shit talk me or anything like that, I just ignore them or I talk about them on stream and wait for my followers to dogpile them. I don't even have to lift the fucking finger. It's so much easier, way more drama free. It's amazing. I love it so much. It's way better.
And it's zen in a way, I hope.
It's zen. It absolutely is zen. Because if I can speak selfishly for a moment,
of course,
I'm not by any means perfect, nor has my advocacy been, but I feel like I often get treated uncharitably.
That would be a weird brand, by the way. Vosh, I'm perfect.
Well, look, we're working on that. Look, merchandise pending, okay? But anyway, sometimes I get, I think, treated a little bit poorly, smidge, perhaps a little uncharitably online. And for the first like year and a half of me being on YouTube, anytime that happened, I would guess engage with it myself because it felt like there was nobody there to defend me. So I have to do it, of course. I'm me, But now reliably, my fans do it, and it makes me feel really great. And what I've noticed is it actually tones down the antagonism from the other side as well, because they were only pulling that shit because they knew that they were going to be speaking into an echo chamber. They knew it would be signal boosted by other people. Whereas now that there's pushback, there's support, the general level of antagonism goes down because it's not worth their time anymore to argue with my fans. I feel like my I guess prominence has actually decreased the toxicity online by a pretty significant amount, which is pretty awesome.
I wonder if there's going to be an academic paper on that. Like the Vosh report.
I don't know. It's pretty good. It's pretty awesome, to be honest.
But do you find that power also has given you the ability to have more catharsis online? Because I'll speak as a humble 40,000 Twitter account. I love that I can put certain people on blast, and I trust me, I won't talk of the beanie here. I know this is it's a beanie free zone now. It's a friendly beanie zone. But anyways, certain other people, like the drinkers of dog cum, for example, I like that I can put them on blast. I like that they can make a terrible tweet, like Steven Crowder can say something, and I can quote tweet him, and then I can get a whole bunch of people to laugh at that. Like that to me brings me some catharsis against the right and the libs now. I guess now it's the libbing hour. That's what 2020.
Well, it feels amazing to do that. Yeah, obviously. I think the real I guess the only real like hands off, the only how do you say, the only restriction you have to put on that obviously is it's super irresponsible to dogpile like good people who have made bio mistakes or just really small accounts. But most of the time we're talking about like large figures, other large figures, and in that case it's totally fine, totally worthwhile.
You're not one of the people who does like I don't get creators who take like a 10 follower account and then quote tweet them and be like, not based, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, yeah.
Some people just like ruining some people's days. You see that if you quote tweet like a random reply comment,
Yeah.
or if you here's a really annoying thing people do. They'll have an argument in the comments with somebody and they'll retweet all of their own posts just so they can get other people to jump in on your argument. That's pussy shit right there. If you're arguing with somebody, just keep it to yourself,
Yeah.
Don't signal boost to get other people involved in that.
I agree. I'm guilty of that, but I'm guilty of that when I want like someone to notice me. Like I did that to like the other day. I'm sure you saw AOC was like, "Is anyone going to play Among Us with me?" And I noticed some huge accounts said like, "Oh, me," right? And I think you're. In there too.
That's fine. That's fine. If that's an honest,
I was so scared I wouldn't have the power to be noticed. So I was like, retweet myself.
That is an honest. Good fashion signal boost that I personally completely avow.
It's a wholesome boost,
I endorse it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wholesome.
Yeah.
But the I don't know. Internet popularity is really weird. Like managing that and navigating that. Oh wait, hold on. To ubiquitize this conversation a little bit, moving back to the election. What did you do? What have you done? I guess over the slow, dragged out victory process.
In terms of what, my celebration or my reporting?
Yeah, well, all of it. Yeah, what have you been? How have you been hitting it up?
Like what substances or what statistics?
What have you been doing, my man?
I need. We got to ground our axioms every time we speak, Vosh. Right? I don't want this to be misconstrued at some point or someone to take.
I got drunk for the first time in a while.
Really?
2 nights ago.
Are you? Do you not imbibe? Is that a thing? Is that why you're such a lightning rod?
Up until recently, I couldn't drink. I'm alcohol intolerant. I got drunk too many times in college, and my body started rejecting alcohol. But I found a really nice,
That's
very
a thing?
very sweet, very sweet wine. That is actually just delicious. So I went through like 2 bottles of that on stream. It was really, really fun.
Oh, I gotta watch that. That sounds amazing. I guess a mix of emotions, a mix of moments. Tuesday was an unusual night because I at no point thought that Trump was going to win. I knew Trump wasn't going to win, but I was very scared that the worst case scenario, which was pretty much this was going to be a closer race than expected, on top of which Trump is now going to use this to pull a soft coup, which it just all played out in real time kind of situation. And it's not as if like I'm not Nostrasurface or anything like that, right? Like there was so many clips that came out the next day that were just like here's Bernie Sanders predicting the entire thing verbatim, right? And I was like, that is really good beat for beat because that's how it played out. But there was dozens of people who were like, clearly this is what he's going to do because Trump knows. There was some staffer, I'm sure, who told Trump, like, by the way, you can't win this. You're fucked. You're fucked, son. But here's what we can do, all right? You can basically slightly get close in some areas, and then you basically have to call the election, say you won, at which point bring it to the Supreme Court. You've already stacked it with those 3. Same for people who worked on Bush v. Gore. You're looking pretty. You're going to be great. Here's how it's going to go. That's the play. And then of course that is the play, and it's perfect for a guy like Trump who's just so grandiose. I gotta basically be bombastic in all things I do. So that Tuesday was scary. When I woke up on Wednesday, I'm sure like you, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, I don't want to steel man you here, but I was suddenly feeling a lot more confident. Things were trickling in. It looked to be that I had always thought, and maybe I'm just too much of an optimist on this, that once those mail-in ballots came, this was just going to be a flood. I was like, there's no situation in which this man, Donald Trump, has been telling all of his base to not do a thing that wasn't going to backfire on him. For him to be like, you know what, not only don't use these mail-in ballots, but at the same time, let's get rid of the post office because we don't need this anymore. Because clearly, this element of American society shouldn't exist. I knew this was gonna like backfire at the very least.
Yeah,
right?
my favorite. This literally just happened an hour ago. My favorite, boomerang coming back to hit you in the face moment was. Hold on. So this is from this is from earlier today. Breaking: Georgia Secretary of State says officials discovered an issue involving ballot reporting in Fulton County. So this is like a real issue with the ballot counting. Like, oh fuck. Update: Fulton County officials discover a reporting error that has taken Joe Biden's lead in Georgia from 4,000 votes to 7,000 votes. So they almost doubled his lead because of reporting error they pushed to find. So it's absolutely spectacular.
Oh, just chef's kiss.
Yeah, we won this goddamn election, and we earned it too, because the
Yeah.
past 4 years have been rough. I mean, I can say this. I personally have not really been affected by the Trump regime, like, at all, you know? Especially, so I mean, it happened when I was in college, and I got through college, and then shortly after that I started the channel, and by the time I had started the channel, I hadn't really interacted with any of the consequences of the Trump administration, you know? Because college can be a bubble to an extent. And then once this picked up, I've been privileged enough to not really have to worry about it. But I have heard so many stories from people who email me, who DM me, who comment in my chat or talk in the YouTube comments down below. And the extent to which this has like damaged real people is extraordinary. And so I feel like there's a leftist impulse to cringe at the idea that Trump actually is bad, that Orange Man actually is bad, which is frustrating to me because we never should have ceded that ground. He is very bad. And I'm happy to have him out, if for no other reason than because I think it'll give some people some room to breathe, you know?
Yeah, no, I completely I completely agree. Well, it's the same thing with people who are basically trying to tell you that, yeah, he's bad, but you know, Joe Biden is going to be worse. That was the right wing thing. Like, I was that, you know, that argument where it's like, he's not the president. Like, Joe Biden's not the president. And I was thinking the same thing when the people on the left were like, hey, by the way, did you know that Joe Biden's going to be really, really bad as well? And I was like, yeah, sure, he's going to be shitty. But Trump is the president right now, and Trump is doing the bad things, and they're really fucked up. I had a hard time, Vosh, trying to tell people, because a lot of my audience is American, trying to tell people about all the fucked up shit that goes on in Canada. Because I would be like, yeah, this is fucked up.
Most Americans have no fucking idea, dude. They have no fucking clue. Most Americans, even a lot of lefty Americans, think of Canada as some sort of like, you know, like almost like a Scandinavian paradise, but closer, you know?
Oh
Where
yeah,
there's
a utopia.
Yeah, utopian, yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, but even then, even if I'm like, yeah, we're actually engaged in eugenics, we're doing a eugenics program against Indigenous women. We have a federal program that basically prevents them from ever giving birth again. That's Canada. That's really hard for me to do on a regular basis when they're like, but you guys have public health care, right? I was like, yeah, we do have it, and like, and everyone gets it, right? Doesn't matter how rich or poor you are.
That shows you, though, when people think of progressive
does.
countries, they think of progressive economic policies. It just goes to show where people's, you know, leanings are. Do they still do the Jew screw in Canada?
Sorry, what's the Jew screw?
The Jew screw, where you like you hit a Jewish person into the ground, you twist them.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, Canada's not as bad as it used to be then.
Sorry, that was a thing?
Yeah.
Are you saying juice or Jews? I'm so confused. You're fucking with me.
I'm sorry. I could have kept that together a little bit better. I'm sorry. I got the
This is an OJ meme? What the hell?
I got the giggles. No, the joke the joke, if I could have pulled it off, would have been, see, not even you're aware of how dark Canada how bad Canada's social policies are.
Okay.
But I got the giggles, you know? I'm a giggly boy. I'm happy. I'm glad that doesn't happen over there. Oh wait, actually, because now I'm curious because I brought it up.
Sure.
Is there does Canada have a weird history with like anti-Semitism? Is that like a big thing?
Oh, absolutely.
There?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, of course. Yeah, no. We have current problems with anti-Semitism. Trust me, this country is rife with racism. We have a KKK. We have QAnon. A QAnoner drove into the prime minister's house trying to assassinate him, smashed through the gates. That was a QAnoner, smashed through the gates with a fucking arsenal of weapons in the truck to murder the prime minister of Canada. That happens, you know, that happened this year.
Wait, can you just do that in Canada? Can you just drive up to the fucking to your Capitol building?
Okay, so our prime minister's office is at a different location because there's asbestos in the walls than the actual one. It's the thing. Don't get me started. Anyways, so he drove through the walls of the temporary The gates are the temporary one, but the gates were, of course, quite reinforced, and his car got totaled. His truck, very powerful truck, got totaled, and it's very funny actually. So it's basically a QAnon or Nazi who tried to smash and assassinate the prime minister, gets the truck totaled in the act of, and then once they actually had a Canadian robot. I want to preface the word Canada in front of everything because it makes it sillier. They had a Canadian robot have to go into the truck and to pull the weapons out to make sure they were okay. At which point they were like, "Yeah, this guy." We looked up his social media. He was a far right QAnoner. So thank you.
Wow, I'm like
Thanks
really concerned for you guys right now.
I know.
There are like
And
18 things I want to say in response to that. About the asbestos or the robot or the gates or any of that. First of all, if a car went over 30 miles per hour anywhere within a quarter mile of the White House, it would be fucking Stinger missiled. Yeah. Having been to DC, you know how in like video games the evil fortress that you fight the boss in is like there's no civic infrastructure, it's just like layered fortresses upon layered fortresses.
Every time.
That is
Yeah.
the White House. The entire fucking like 3-block area around the White House is just nothing but Secret Service patrols, armored cars, tanks, tank traps, and walls.
I went there a couple years ago actually, and I was there during the DACA protests. And I noticed that. I was like, it seemed like there was like a gated layer between a gated layer between a gated layer.
Yeah, we're not letting you fuckers burn down this one. Not again.
Oh shit! Is Trump barricading himself inside? Is that happening?
Yeah. They erected a wall around the White House. It's actually really funny.
So what's going to happen? What's like? I know there's no precedent. We live in.
They said they wanted to do it to prevent property damage being done to the White House and its lawn, like people throwing shit after the results of the election. Frankly, I think it's just so like Donnie can cry on the White House lawn and roll around without any of the cameras getting to him, you know?
Oh my god.
You also can't have things flying above DC. That probably goes without saying, but if you send a drone or like a kite or anything like above the 30 feet into the air, they have lasers.
Like anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere. Unironically, the airspace around DC is probably the most controlled airspace anywhere outside the Korean DMZ.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, they don't. It's the president, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh wait, hold on.
Y'all don't fuck around.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. Chat's telling me to tell the story. Have you heard the story about how I was detained in DC by the Secret Service?
No.
Oh. Yeah. No. It happened. It happened a while ago, way back before I had the channel. But I went there with my friends on vacation one day. And,
sorry, I was just gonna say sometimes Chad acts like a really cool mom. That's really cute. That's like, Vosh, tell the story. Yeah, please tell the story.
They're very
your Canadian
cute.
Friend,
when I was drinking, they kept telling me to drink water. They're very cute. They're very maternalistic, you know.
Sorry. Anyways, yeah, go on.
Oh well. Anyway, the gist of it was basically that I was a little baby anarchist back then, you know. So I was loudly commenting while walking around DC, you know, walking by armed patrols and stuff that. You know, like, oh yeah, dude, this is such cool. I wonder what it'd take to smash all this. You know, like basically openly inquiring as to the military strength it would take to smash DC. And eventually, we realized that there was this massive dude tailing us, like this big 6'4" motherfucker, big white guy with a shaved head and like the earpiece and sunglasses. And we thought, there's no way. There's no fucking way we're getting tailed by Secret Service right now. That has to just be a huge dude in a suit with an earpiece and sunglasses. But nope, that motherfucker pulled us around a corner and fucking detained us. And 2 cars rolled up on the corner and pulled onto the fucking sidewalk. And guys with guns got out, and they had us fucking questioned for an hour. And it was
holy shit,
it's a whole goddamn process, you know.
Wow. So what's that like? Did you get bagged and tagged?
Well, they kept us on the street. They separated me from my friends because I was the loudest one, and they asked us separate questions about what we were doing in DC to try to corroborate our narratives. They asked a bunch of questions, including whether or not I had... Oh, God. Okay. So the person who tailed us interviewed my friends. I was interviewed by this clearly fucking ex-military dude with like with a fucking rifle that he was just holding in front of him, like the neck strap, you know? And he interviewed me for the hour. And okay, so here's the stupidest thing that I did, because a lot of this was just, you know, what's your name, so on, where were you born, blah, blah, like all this stuff that they could probably double check in their database. But at one point they asked me, you know, like, do you have any weapons on you? And of course I didn't at all, nothing, the keys, you know. But I said, because I like the jokes. I said, well, no, but you know, I took wrestling back in high school, so one could say my entire body's a weapon. And he actually reached to the hand to the fucking handle of his gun and looked at me and he said, "Is that accurate?" And I was like, "No, okay." I played it off, but the
Holy shit.
the whole thing went off. The whole thing went on for an hour, and eventually it ended because one more car came up and two detectives came out, and they were like older, and they didn't have guns, or at least they definitely did, but they weren't carrying guns.
It's
And
like open
they showed
carry.
up and they were like, "All right, this has gone on long enough. We can either take you in or we let you go. You're detained, but like it's up to you. Do you want like just say you don't want us to take you in, just please." And there were two people, one arguing that they needed to take us in, and one guy saying, "I don't want to deal with the paperwork," and the guy who didn't want to deal with the paperwork won. So we ended up walking, and that was it. That's the whole story.
What were they going to detain you on? What was like? What's
I
the
think,
charge?
I mean, I don't think the Secret Service cares that much. I think that, I mean, I don't think they could have held me for long, but I don't think they care that much. It's mostly a matter of how aggressively I want to assert my rights, And at the time, I wasn't as aware. I think nowadays I would just tell them to piss off unless I was getting arrested. But back then, I wasn't fully aware of the process.
Would you ever contemplate flexing your moderate internet success? Would you be like, this is not a regular human being. I'm not a civilian. This is Vosh of
Well, I need to be. I need to be live
youtube.com/Vosh.
streaming this. Sir, your illegal activities are
whole
being
world is
broadcast to
watching.
7,000 people. We are all watching you do this, right, sir? And I'm sure that. And by the way, have to say, the day that I IRL stream me getting the shit beaten out of me by the Secret Service would be the day I break some kind of donation record, because I know you fuckers would pay up for that. Yeah.
Of course. Oh yeah. They would start bail funds. I would be getting like pings like, Lance, have you heard about Vosh? You have to do something. And I was like, all right, sure, yeah.
They would
Let's
love
see.
that. You all would enjoy
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's wild. Oh man, Vosh. The vigilante. I didn't know.
Yeah, Vosh the Stampede. So it goes. Have you watched Trigun?
No, I have not.
It's
I have
not as good as I wanted it to be, but it was still fun. It's a fun watch.
Wait, Dragon?
Trigun, the 90s anime.
Trigun. Oh no. Okay, so if you didn't know this, and I know you've got a huge weeb audience, I'm about to probably get myself
no.
nuked. I know nothing. I know nothing. I have seen nothing. I'm such a weed poser. I know what ayaya means. I know what ubu means. I've had to learn these terms, but
Yeah.
when people are like Tokyo Ghoul and okay, you want to have some self debasement. Speaking of which, I thought Hunter Squared, as I was learning, I thought that was called Hunter x Hunter. So I was in my chat was like, Lance, you have to watch Hunter x Hunter. I was like, oh, cool. Hunter x Hunter. Is that like, and they're like, no, Lance, the X is silent. I was like, oh, so it's like pizza. So it is
Yeah,
Hunter. Is that how it goes? I'm like, no, Lance, true fans call it Hunter Squared. I was like, how many layers is there? It's the
Don't
name
listen
of,
to them. They're
title.
lying to you. People call it Hunter. They're fucking with you.
Oh, really? It's not called Hunter Squared?
Maybe some people call it Hunter Squared. I haven't seen people call it that.
All right.
The Hunter is a great anime. If you're looking to get into any stuff, I think the problem with anime is that it has a completely different cultural language than like Western animation. There's a huge, like, if you just watch an anime without knowing anything about anime, all the weird like facial expressions and the timing of all the jokes feels really off. I feel like you need good intermediaries that sort of feel familiar even if you're not that familiar with anime. I think that
But
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood's probably the best for that.
okay, well, we had a vote. That one got second. First place got Cowboy Bebop. So
Yes,
apparently I have to watch
that one also. Yeah, okay. Then your community has a decent handle on that.
Oh, okay, but yeah, my question was going to be like, if I've watched the big movies, if I've watched like as a kid, I watched what was it, Ghost in the Shell. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I've watched oh fuck, I'm gonna be so bad at this. I'm such a poser. Anyways, I've watched the mainstream
Spirited Away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Totoro. Yeah.
Hold my hand. Hold my hand here. So I've watched them all. If I've enjoyed those, I understand the aesthetic, right? Like I bridge the gap for the humor, all that kind of stuff. Or is it goes even deeper than that? I have to. It's like question mark.
Oh my god! I thought you froze for a second. That was such a convincing pause.
Oh, sorry. No, that was more me. That was me adding a question mark to a sentence without actually vocalizing it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a lot of fun. I've been trying to watch a lot more lately, because I really like consuming media. I think that, but the problem is people consume media thoughtlessly. They just want something on because they feel empty and alone if they're not listening to something. They want
Hmm.
something on to fill the void. I like very actively consuming media, criticizing it. Like how does this relate to other things that I've watched? How does this does it innovate? In what way can I is this new, or is this like a waste of time? Am I just re-consuming things I've already watched? And I've been trying to watch more. Been trying to watch Appare Ranman, which I was originally watching, then had to delay because the studio closed it due to COVID, but now they've reopened it, which is it's fine, maybe a little better than average. I'm watching The Boys right now, but everyone knows about The Boys. That's not anime.
Oh, it was
Um,
great. By the way, I'm the exact same way. You're speaking my language. I couldn't
yeah.
agree more.
It's
I
really
love it. I
good.
love consuming media.
Golden
Yeah.
Kamuy. I'm watching that right now. Third season's currently airing. Phenomenal. Very progressive too. It's all about the gist of it is it's a crime heist. Basically, it's kind of hard to describe. It's basically a crime heist between a, a veteran of the Japanese-Russian War,
Mm-hmm.
and of a young Ainu girl, essentially an indigenous culture in northern Japan. And the show is very respectful and fastidious about the representation of the Ainu culture and all the unique cultural differences. And it's all very good. It's also very, very gay, which I appreciate.
Yeah, no, I'm like 25% gay, so that works out.
There you go.
Yeah, awesome. That's okay. I'll add that to the list.
Yeah.
Now I have so many different things to watch.
That one's very underrated, by the way. Stuff like Cowboy Bebop, everyone knows that stuff. Golden Kamuy, I only found that because I saw it on the whim, and I really liked the costume design for the main character when I saw a trailer for it. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a look. Turns out really good. What do you know?
But okay, I just have one last question though. Then what do you watch besides anime? What because you just said you love consuming media, and
Yeah.
I know about your predilection for anime.
No, it's mostly
widely reported on.
Oh no, it really is mostly anime and manga. I watch Western cartoons as well. I don't like live action stuff that much. Maybe it's because my father works in the movie industry in Hollywood, so I got kind of sick of it a little bit and all the aesthetic around like actors in the Hollywood industry and that whole scene. But I really like animation. So anything relating to art or animation, I'll get behind.
I didn't know that about you. The lore goes deep. Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Okay, I won't dox you, but would I know stuff he's worked on? Did you have are you like Charlie Murphy? Do you have a whole bunch of stories from your childhood where you're like,
I
yeah,
didn't
no,
go to
I,
the studios.
Oh, okay.
My dad mostly works in sci-fi stuff. He's worked on Babylon 5. He worked on some of the Bond films. He's got a more rigorous list than that. Feel like if he was watching right now, he'd be disappointed how little I remember of what he's watched. But no, yeah, he's watched on a decent. There was even an old show. I don't remember if it was Babylon 5 or it was something else, but one of the ship's ensign number, he made my birthday because he was given control over the modeling of that ship. So
That's
the
super
ensign
cute.
number, like you have the Enterprise C, but it's actually like 11-C or something like that.
Mhm.
There was a ship, and it was my birth date that was set for it, which I thought was really sweet. So that would have been around
Yeah,
the
that's
time I was
really
born.
cute. Do they watch you stream? Do they know
do.
about all this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And what
not-
do they think?
I think they adore my content. The thing is, I'm pretty vacuous and make sexual jokes back when I was living with them as well. So I don't think
Mhm.
I'm not like shy about doing it here or anything. And I never have
Mhm.
anything negative to say about them. So it's not like I have to curtail myself in any way. My brother actually is in the chat pretty often.
Oh, but it's not like your mom's like, oh, he's talking about horse cocks again. We're gonna have to tune out or something.
She's used to those jokes, I think.
Mm.
No, she's very much enjoyed the electoral coverage. So I think that horsecock jokes or not, I feel like the general package, no pun intended, has been positive on their end.
And that's where your political leanings come from. That's like, did you get that from them?
Well, my parents are both liberals, but they're like even back when I was growing up, I think my parents were waiting for like a Bernie Sanders type, but they weren't full on leftists. It would be more like is there a specific term, like a theory oriented term for a leftist who or for a liberal who would be a leftist if they were just informed of like 5 definitions, I feel like that's the position they were in.
Destiny.
Nice. We're shade free here. I'm not getting looked into that drama.
No, I jumped.
The,
I'm totally joking.
Right. Yes, jokes. Anyway, yeah, no, they're a great influence. Love my parents very much.
Oh, that's really cute. That's cute.
I'm just glad they like the content. I would hate it if they fucking hated the content. How much would that suck? Like imagine like calling your parents or something, like, hey, what's up? And they were like, yeah, we caught some of your stream today. You're like, how'd that go? And they were like, well, we watched it for a couple minutes before turning it off. That hurt.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Well, I would have to ask what was deeply troubling them, because that would fucking suck. I would. I don't know. I'm of the same way. My parents watch my content, but one of my grandmothers is alive, and I take care of her, and that's one of the reasons I live in Vancouver. And she does not have access to the internet, and I need to keep that a thing
You need
for
to
forever.
preserve that
Yeah.
state of affairs.
Yes, it's a very tenuous relationship, and I'd like to make sure that she doesn't ever have access to the internet. I can't see all this because there's way too much discussion of, again, aforementioned horsecock and homosexuality and trans rights, things that I'm sure would not resonate with that generation.
My extended family also does not know much about what I do, probably for the best. Though my grandmother recently actually sent me a message saying that they really enjoyed my election coverage, so I guess I'm not far left enough to put her off, which is nice.
Wait, what? How was she watching it?
Oh, she's cool. She's hip and with it, you know. She has like laptop and catches up with online stuff from time to time. I mean, some old people are. When I was young, I'd go over to Florida to see my grandparents. My grandfather built computers. The original, the original Macs, the original Apple computers, the ones that had kind of like a domed back, and sometimes they were transparent.
Mm-hmm.
My grandpa had a lot of money because he got hefty pension after his military service, because he was really high up. He was a commander in the Navy, and he would take those things apart and rebuild them better. Even back then, there was some degree of customizability with that hardware. I think I was really young; I didn't fully understand what he was doing.
Wait, when you say transparent back, are you talking about iMacs? Are you talking about the ones that were like literal bubbles?
Yeah, the iMac bubbles. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was like, those aren't the original Macs though. They go all the way.
Okay,
back
I'm sorry.
Weird,
when I think original, I think like when I was young. What did I imagine? Yeah, okay, not the original. My bad. The iMacs. So I'm signaling my age here, but he would take those apart, and he would I think improve them. I don't know how exactly you did that back then. I doubt it was as simple as just slotting more chips into a motherboard, but he would do something to it, and he was satisfied with the outcome. He had like 4 or 5 computers in one of his workshops. There are some old people that are really computer oriented, you know.
And wait, he was doing that as part of the military, or in the military?
No, that was post-military. He was a commander in the Navy. Afterwards, he retired. You know, just had a bunch of money, and he was like, "Fuck it, I like computers. This is a cool new thing," you know.
And that was at least okay. That's good. It was in the generation where he was just building little machines. When you originally said my grandfather worked on computers, I was like, oh, what, the ones the size of like rooms? Like,
no, shortly after, more like 1999, 2000, 2001. Those iMacs, playing around with them, and of course, the only thing these iMacs could do, as far as I understood, was play solitaire. So there wasn't exactly a lot of high-end software at end here. I think he just liked playing with the, playing with the actual physical machinery.
Did he was in the American Army, I take it, right?
Yeah,
you don't have like, I was like, you don't have German descent or anything.
No,
like
he was in the I do, but not from here. He was a commander during the Korean War, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he started really young.
Well, I was gonna ask, did you ever have trouble wrapping your head around that when you actually learn about the kind of the war crimes of your grandparents? Because I'm asking it as someone who has the same.
No, not really. No, I mean, it figures it happens, but I feel like if I learned about it from start, you know, what happened to the military, it doesn't really change my opinion of the people who were involved in it. I mean, if you're an American citizen back in the 1950s, what was my grandpa doing during the Civil Rights Movement? I have no fucking idea, but he's him and I'm me, and I'm sure that my grandchildren are going to cringe at the fact that I eat meat, you know. So we'll move forward as we can, and in the meantime, he made some really cool computers.
Hey, and by that point, actually, meat will be based because it'll all come in like little tubes that are growing on the side of the room or something.
Well, then it's fine. If it's lab-grown meat, I think it's fine. I don't think there's anything unethical about harvesting meat from an entity that doesn't have any intelligence,
sentience.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's literally like cutting off stalks of a plant, you know.
Okay, sorry, this is the weirdest non sequitur. You just made me remind, like, okay, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but this got brought up in my discussion the other day when we were talking about vegans. We were in a debate as to whether or not eating pussy or sucking dick is vegan, and then obviously it came down to, I was like, well, as long as it's not exploitative, right? If it's consensual, then of course it's 100% vegan. Like the other participant is willingly giving you the essence in both situations. but people were fighting back on the other end. They're like, well, technically no, because it's all exploiting. It's whether or not you choose to enjoy it.
What?
Yeah, I know. I was like, this is new levels to me. Like, it's weird enough to me when I hear about like avocados aren't vegan because apparently you need bees to pollinate the avocados. So in which case you're actually exploiting the bees. So at that point, the avocado is no longer vegan. But I was like, but everything in essence is exploiting something. I mean, we have
One
to
of
draw a
the
line at some point.
one of the problems I think we have with like progressive ideas is that a lot of people support them only because of the aesthetic surrounding the support of that idea, and not because they understand the reason why it's good to support that idea, you know? Like, say for example, veganism. Why
Mm.
is it wrong to eat meat or drink milk or whatever? Well, it's not actually wrong to eat meat or drink milk. That's morally neutral. What's wrong is what you have to do to obtain those things, which you support, you know, commercially. So how is it wrong then to get milk? Well, of course, milk farms suck. You have to constantly force impregnate these cows. But is it wrong to drink milk if you just have a cow and the cow gets pregnant with cow stuff? You know, they're doing their cow thing, and then you milk that cow. Well, the cow needs
Yeah.
milking. In that case, it's
Yeah.
unethical not to milk it because those animals are literally bred to need the milking. So is drinking
Hmm.
that milk unethical? No. I'd argue in a sense then that milk can almost be argued to be vegan. It depends. Do you think that veganism is about preventing animal suffering, or do you think it's literally explicitly zero animal products? I would argue that not
It's
the animal
exploitation,
products.
isn't it?
Right. Well, I'd say it's the exploitation that's the issue.
Yeah.
Likewise with meat, or honey. Bees like the honey boxes. That
Hmm.
they're like easy homes to live in. It's not, if you put them out there in the elements, they have to deal with shit like cold and weather and stuff like that. Um, the bee boxes aren't inherently exploitative like at all. So anyway, I just think a lot of people need to sort of refocus. Yeah, bears. Some people need to refocus what their concerns are there, and there are incremental improvements that can be made. I think that to a large extent, better regulation of the meat industry is going to be a really huge part of moving this country forward, like socially. Um, because I don't know, dude. Those places are pretty fucked up. I can't really blame vegans for getting up in arms about that stuff, even if it
Oh,
makes them like
I don't know if you've done it.
annoying.
I never debate with vegans. I'm just like, no, you're right. I acquiesce. Like, yeah, the factory farming is absolutely abhorrent. It's fucked. Every time I learn more about it, I'm like, this has got to be one of the most fucked up, like, animal holocausts we like, engage in on a regular basis. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
but then would you say it's wrong to drink milk of a fellow human if they were generously giving it to you?
Well, I don't know. I don't think. I mean,
That's not
I
exploitative.
think that's weird. Personally, that's not my thing
Hey,
at all.
hey,
I'm not
in
Homelander, but
in moral philosophy, you're not allowed to use that, all right? You're not allowed to talk about what's weird. It's whether or not it is intrinsic moral worth. That's what we're
well,
caring
I
about.
think it's
Okay, so
morally neutral. I mean, you could even argue it's morally positive if you're both getting off to it or something, right?
or nutrients, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, very
Yeah,
nutrient rich. You're not supposed to
yeah.
have Humans aren't supposed to have dairy after like 2 or 3 years old. That's the reason
Hmm.
why East Asian people tend to be lactose intolerant. Their cultures didn't grow up with fucking cows and goats and shit available all the time, so they could have all the cheese and the butter and the milk. So they didn't grow up with that. So they don't have the what do they call the enzymes in their stomach acid to process that food. You know?
I don't know if you know this, but someone sent me a link one day where you ranked all your conversations by tiers, and I noticed at the time that you put me in A plus, I believe, not an S. I was second to last, and your criticism was that Lance always comes here with something specific he wants to talk about, and I'm very happy to know that if I don't have anything planned, we end up talking about uh drinking human milk.
Yeah, well, it's more that you're a driven conversationalist. Yeah, you would have been S tier if we debated. The higher tiers have to be debates for pretty obvious reasons. But there's nothing wrong with that. I actually was probably going to head soon, because I
I know.
haven't checked those at all today, and they're waiting for me and mocking me, from chat. I can see that. Um, but anyway, yeah, I really do appreciate you coming on. I'm glad you finally have a camera that I can throw in front of everybody else as well, or a second camera. Sorry.
Yeah, no. It was honestly, Vosh. It's always a ton of fun, man. I like when you're in that point of a conversation when all the politics are gone or all the things you have to talk about are gone, and then you actually just start ribbing. I believe that's the word.
That
That's
is
what
the
the kids
technical
say.
term, yes.
Yeah. That's got to be the most pleasurable,
Yep. Well, you
part.
you got in on the tail end too, because I feel like just about socialed myself out between this and the past week. I've been doing a lot of these politics streams, and
Mhm.
it's all very engaging. It's all also very tiring. The circus of the election is fun. I really, really look forward to things calming down for a smidge. In
Mhm.
large part because I was playing Amnesia and I'm not going to get to play it again on stream until we settle the fuck down for a little bit.
Yeah.
You ever
Yeah.
played any
And
Amnesia games?
I love scary games. They're like I think Silent Hill 2 might be my second favorite video game of all time. And so I played is Amnesia the first one or is it the second one? I can't remember. But that
Well,
same factory.
Penumbra were similar games beforehand. Then there was Amnesia: The Dark Descent, then Amnesia: Machine for Pigs, and now Amnesia. I forget what the
And
tagline.
where does is it Sola or Sol? I forget the name of it. Soma. I forget.
Soma. Yes.
Yeah.
That came
Yeah.
after the first two Amnesia games.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, Soma I've enjoyed quite a bit too. Amnesia's good. Uh I Layers of Fear, it wasn't really that great story-wise, but it's just like a fun carnival ride in terms of the new horror games that came out. And then there
Mhm.
was something else that's absolutely fantastic. I'm trying to remember. What's the one where you have a video camera where you're walking around with like a
Outlast.
cell phone or Outlast? That was good for just good jump scares. Good jump scares.
Yeah, I can't do the jump scare things. I like the slow tension build stuff. The jump scares are too
Mhm.
much for me, so I didn't enjoy Outlast that much.
Yeah, fair enough.
There have been basically no jump scares thus far in Amnesia Rebirth, which has been nice.
And they'll get you eventually.
Yes. Thank you very much for coming on, Lance. Would you like to shill yourself?
Wow. All right. I... Oh, did you say
Oh no, if
shill
you're
or
no, I wait.
did you say shill or show?
No, I meant no shill, like
Oh,
shill.
shill.
Shout
Oh,
yourself
yeah,
out.
sure.
Okay, all right, okay. Happy to clarify. All right.
Like, odd. Is this how you end with all your guests? All right, here we go. Hi everyone. I'm Lance from the Surfs TV. You can check me out at I stream 5 days a week. Twitch.tv/the Surfs TV. I upload the streams to youtube.com/the Surf Times and our BreadTube channel where we do long form documentaries, of which Vosh is in one of them. We did a fake trailer for Elon Musk's movie with Nicolas Cage, where Vosh does the trailer voice. If he hasn't already shown it to you, chat, shame on him. That is his shame. And
I
ask
think I
him.
did.
Ask him to show it to you. He did a really good trailer voice. But anyways, that's youtube.com/the Surfs TV. And everywhere digital media is sold, the Surfs TV, you'll find us. Thank you so much for having me on, Vosh.
Yeah,
It's
be well,
an
man.
absolute pleasure. Yeah,
Enjoy your time, and hopefully, in a last desperate bid for power, Trump does not try to annex Canada.
Yeah, because we will lose.
Be well.
But hey, I for one welcome our new insect overlords. So yeah, cheers everybody. Bye.
Is that an anti-Semitic reference?
God damn it, no.
Good, got him.